So we're going to talk today about drafting and editing, and we're going to take two concepts from really good writers. The first concept is the concept of a shitty first draft. That comes from a writer named Anne Lamott. And the second concept is what we'll call an extra ear by the writer and doctor Atul Gawande. So Mr. Smith, we're going to start with shitty first draft, and this comes from Lamott's book on writing called Bird by Bird. She has a chapter on how to get over the kind of paralysis that sometimes comes with approaching a writing project. So she writes this. You want to read it for us?
Almost all good writing begins with terrible first efforts. You have to start somewhere.
Keep going.
People tend to look at successful writers who are getting their books published and maybe even doing well financially, and think that they sit down at their desks every morning feeling like $1 million, feeling great about who they are and how much talent they have, and what a great story they have to tell. That they take a few deep breaths, push back their sleeves, roll their necks a few times to get all the cricks out, and dive in, typing fully formed passages as fast as a court reporter.
And then here's the real key insight from Lamott.
But that is just the fantasy of the uninitiated.
Right. It's the sense of people who don't know a lot about writing think that writers just sit down and produce publishable sentences. But people who actually do writing know that it can be this grueling process. And we can switch this around, as we often do when we take these bits of writing from writers and apply them to the legal context. So Mr. Raymer, you want to read the same paragraph but applied to lawyers.
People tend to look at successful lawyers who are getting their briefs adopted by the court and maybe even doing well financially, and think that they sit down at their desks every morning feeling like $1 million, feeling great about who they are and how much talent they have and what a great argument they have to make. That they take a few deep breaths, push back their sleeves, roll their necks a few times to get all the cricks out, and dive in, typing fully formed passages as fast as a court reporter. But that is just the fantasy of the uninitiated. Again,
these briefs don't just come out on your first sitting. So what we're trying to do is develop a process where you can produce consistently good writing over and over again without some of the pressure of having to do it just in one sitting.